Hey lovely people, how you doing? So I thought I'd do a video introducing myself, letting you know who I am, I guess what my message is, what my motivation is, and also kind of addressing some of the hate that I've received on socials. So who am I? My name's Jenna, I'm a dual qualified nurse. I'm general and mental health trained. I qualified 2009 and then 2011. My experience has predominantly been care of the elderly, and communication around palliative care was something that was a real interest of mine, and how we can improve it, as I feel that we're all practicing communication, and that there's always room for improvement and, you know, reflective practice. I'm not NHS, and the reason why I say that is because I get attacked quite a lot for not being NHS, so therefore I have no opinion. And what I will say about that is, the more that we say that, the more that that's an agreed viewpoint, the less likely nurses are to speak out. And just because you're not NHS, just because you're in the private sector or the forces, it doesn't mean you don't have a valid experience. But this is part of the reason why nurses are scared to speak out, because as soon as they try, as soon as they raise their voice, they get bashed down. And just because they haven't had the experience that certain NHS COVID wards and ITU have had, it does not mean that they haven't worked hard. It does not mean that they haven't suffered or lost people. So I would really, really, really encourage, if that's your knee-jerk response, please just consider that there are nurses out there who have had a different experience to you, and it doesn't mean that it's not a valid one. So that's something that I feel quite strongly about. I feel that in order to be able to speak out and have these conversations, we need to stop being silenced. So that's who I am. So I walked from Stoke-on-Trent to London to raise awareness for nurses to ask questions. People say that they're confused about my message. Okay, so my message is, I'm pro-choice, I'm pro-informed decision-making, pro-voluntary consent, and I am completely anti-coercion, anti-digital passports. I'm anti-education with manipulation, rather than just simply education. And my message is that nurses should feel safe to speak out. I understand it's confusing that I'm walking around with a sandwich board, smiling, and that's confusing that you don't look scared. No, I am. I'm in a high state of stress and feeling uncomfortable for long periods of the day now as I walk around London wearing a sandwich board, and I haven't got my husband to support me, you know, because he's at home. I'm not asking for sympathy. I'm just trying to explain, you know, this is what I'm doing, and I am scared too. I also understand that it's confusing that you can't see the nurses that are scared to speak out. So therefore, maybe she's lying, maybe I'm making it up. Like, how true is it? And then we get labelled, you know, again, this is another reason why people are scared to speak out, because as soon as we do, we get told that we're all these names, labels, conspiracy theorists, anti-vaxxers, code deniers, COVID-idiots. And that takes away the point of us trying to speak out. And what that does is it just changes our behaviour. It doesn't acknowledge our concerns. And even if the people that we were asking them to didn't know the answer, that's fine. Like, let's just say we don't know the answer, let's find it out together. But when we're bashed down, it does become quite difficult for people to speak out. So yeah, I would continue to ask people to please just consider that there are nurses that have worked hard, are not NHS, have faced tragedy and loss and devastation this year, but maybe don't have a supportive work environment if you don't feel the need to speak out, or you feel quite comfortable speaking out. There are nurses that feel very alone, very scared, very confused right now, and are being bullied and ostracised for asking questions. And that just doesn't make sense to me. I don't have answers, and there's nothing that qualifies me to try and speak out for these nurses. It just feels morally right. You know, it's not in my benefit to do this. I'm not getting paid for this. I'm away from work. I'm away from home and my husband. I'm getting attacked on social media, which makes me cry. And that's not me asking for sympathy points. I'm just stating, like, I don't understand why people would feel that I would do that if there wasn't just a little bit of truth in what I'm saying, that nurses are scared to speak out. And also, you know, people are saying, well, what are you scared to speak out about? What are you scared? I'm not scared to speak out about anything. I'm okay. I am. I'm super lucky. I have got colleagues who I can talk to. I'm okay. But the thousands of people, nurses, social workers, paramedics, police, firemen, who have reached out to me, they're the ones that I'm here for. And I'm not asking for thanks or anything. But what I want to do, and the reason why I'm not sharing their stories is because they're their stories. You know, they're concerned about confidentiality. And I'm not going to break that to kind of please the haters and show proof. Because also, there will never be enough proof. You know, if I share one story, oh, well, that's just one. If I share 12, well, that's just 12. You know, there will never be enough when somebody isn't open to considering that what I'm saying has some truth in it. But what I am hoping to do is support people with confidence so that they can speak out. And then they can share their stories and they can talk about their stories. And I don't know what the next move is. I don't know what the next step is. I don't know what I'm going to do next. I am asking for a meeting with the NMC to try and go through with them. And again, you have to consider, like, what are the motives for someone doing this? If the avenues or the processes were working, you know, if we were being supported by our unions, by the NMC, I wouldn't be walking around London with a sandwich board, that's for sure. But we're not being listened to, we're not being supported. So that's my next move, to try and get the meeting with the NMC. Also having a collective support group for nurses. And then I don't know, I'm kind of making this up as I go along as well. I don't know. I don't know what the answers are. But I want to know that I did everything that I could to help nurses feel safe to speak out. And although I say nurses, I mean, you know, everyone who is concerned, who has worries, who has questions, who is feeling bullied or ostracised. Yeah, and I think that's it. So I hope that's clarified up some points, and people are a little bit more clear now on what I'm doing. I'm feeling quite kind of like low. It's been very strange. Like when I walked to London, it seemed like, I don't know, I was able to like get into my groove and do my stories, and I had quite a lot of fun doing that, whereas this seems a lot more serious. And I'm not sure why. But yeah, thank you very much for listening to this. I do appreciate your time. And please, if you are completely confused by what I'm doing, if you have got no experience of nurses being scared to speak out, all I can ask is that you at least consider that there are nurses that have had or are having different experiences to you. And by labelling them, by calling them names, by saying that their experience isn't valid, that's not encouraging them to speak out. So yeah, that's me. That's me for now, anyway. And I hope that's answered the questions. Normally I'm a little bit more smiley. I don't know what's the matter with me today. But I will see you all later, guys. See you later. Bye.